Previously on the Orange Guy channel.
Maybe instead of giving totally simple and well-informed advice on how to make your computer faster, I should have done the opposite. And instead giving you advice on how to make your computer slower.
At the end of my video on how to make your computer faster, I came to the stunning realization that actually, computers should actually be slow. Incredible, I know. I should be handed a Nobel Prize. Anyways, a year later, and here we are, finally concluding that cliffhanger with this video that you're watching right now. Which, truth be told, is essentially just a rehash of that video, but just don't think about it. Instead, why don't we think about why we want such an important device in our lives to be slower? Like, I mean, that's stupid. Well, there are some reasons. The main one is the whole experience life thing, but I already rattled that off previously. Another reason one might want their computer to be slower is, well, it's kinda cool. Whereas everyone else on the Reddits and Zitters are bragging about their new expensive high-performance gaming machines, you can be the special kid and tout how agonizingly slow your computer is. It's exuding that I don't need good gear to be good kind of energy. Not to mention, it's also just cool to be nonconformist. Like yeah, everybody has a decent or fast computer, but you, and only you, have a computer that runs about as fast as it takes Baby Keem to release an album. You know, it's dope in a dare to be different kind of way, aka the worst way to be dope. But whatever the reason is, I can tell just by the fact that you clicked on this video that it's clear that you're interested in learning the
Number 8 is great. Who we got today? We got Lang with a bang. Bitches gaming. He shoots, he misses. But it's alright, cause he's holding off the point, waiting for the Uber. The Uber is super.
The easiest way to make your computer slower is just by torturing it while you're running software that is, let's just say, not the lightest. Now, there's a good amount of software out there that isn't light. Guaranteed, you're using one of them right now. But look, I'm not gonna go on my usual spiel about how Windows is full of bloatware, that you should use Linux instead, because I already talked about that in the prequel, and I don't want to rehash too much, okay? And I will say in fairness to Mike, Windows does have a lot of features. Like, I mean, the reason Linux can be so light is because, well, it doesn't ship with everything you might want pre-installed. Then again, those Windows features are Copilot. Okay, enough Windows bashing, how about we look at another Microsoft product? Minecraft Java Edition. Yep, if you played Minecraft on PC, you might have realized how fucking shit it runs. In fact, it's almost impossible to play Minecraft unless you have a bunch of performance-enhancing mods installed, or you turn down your render distance to like 2 chunks. But like, why is Minecraft Java Edition so slow? Well, it's in the name. Minecraft Bedrock doesn't nearly have the same performance issue as Java Edition, due to it being written in C++, leading to actually stable performance, and allowing for crossplay between multiple platforms. Not with Linux or Mac though. It's actually a bit insane that Java Edition is still around. Due to all the Java-isms, it really should have been deprecated a long time ago. Well, it wasn't for the fact that Bedrock Edition is... yeah. Also, while researching for this part, I learned about the existence of Minecraft Windows 10 Edition. From what I can tell, it's seemingly just a port of the Bedrock Edition that was present at the time to UWP. Eventually, it was renamed to just Minecraft, alongside all the other Bedrock editions, cause why not? Other programs worth mentioning include most video editing programs. Obviously, the act of editing video takes a lot of resources, especially in the GPU. I wouldn't name one, but all of them are pretty guilty of this, especially if they're made for professionals. AKA, the only people who can actually afford to make these programs not run like Blender and other 3D modelers also treat your GPU's cores like an all-you-can-eat buffet, particularly if the scene you're trying to render is really intense or just incredibly unoptimized. Now you want your RAM to be the thing under strain, then might I suggest using Google Chrome, or any DAW for that matter. Those things eat up RAM. To conclude, to use up your CPU's power, all you need to do is open up any modern AAA game's UI. But wait, wavelength size 590 to 620 nanometers? I'm playing Minecraft Java on Windows, not to be confused with Minecraft Windows 10 Edition, all while rendering a video, and a scene in Blender, and I have 50 crown tabs open, all while I'm making fog beats. And I'm not experiencing any slowness, in fact my computer runs as fast as it takes NBA Youngboy to release an album. Well Robert, in that case, the problem might be with your... If your computer's pushing through all your attempts to turn it into a snail, then its components may just be too strong for it to break a sweat. And what might those components be? Well, when it comes to speed, there are 4 main components to work, and all 4 have associated speeds with them. That'd be your processor and graphics card and their respective clock speeds, your memory and its memory speed, and storage and its transfer rate. Though frankly, the only component where the speed matters is the transfer rate of storage devices, and the memory transfer speeds of RAM. Let's start with the former. Storage devices are, well, where you're going to be storing your files, and they can be split into 2 main types, hard drives and solid-state drives. The difference between how these two store data is a bit much for this comedy video, but all you need to know is that hard drives rely on mechanical moving parts, whereas solid-state drives, don't. Yep, it's as simple as that. SSDs can be further differentiated between each other by the interface they use, with the two most common being SATA and M.2. The crux of it though is that hard drives are slow and SSDs are fast. At least, they should be. Some SSDs out there can actually be slower than a hard drive if they lack the necessary DRAM cache chip. So while conventional wisdom would say that you should use a hard drive when you're trying to build a slow computer, it actually might be a better idea to instead use a shitty SSD, or maybe even a memory card. Yep, some budget laptops out there have memory cards as their storage devices, cause it's cheap and it's cheap. But how do I know if my SSD is total garbage? Well, that's when you look at its transfer rate. It's a measurement of how many bits your SSD can transfer in a second. The higher it is, the faster your SSD is, the lower it is, the slower it is. This also goes for hard drives, but with them you also have to worry about a lot of other stuff, but don't worry about that, let's move on to... Random access memory is basically a type of storage device, but unlike your hard drives and hard drives, RAM is made for quick temporary storage. Essentially, it's a place for your computer to store and access info quickly. This is compared to drives, which are meant for long-term storage, which might just mean 2 minutes, but hey, for a fruit fly, that's pretty long. Anyways, RAM speed is measured in megatransfers per second, or megahertz if you prefer. It's pretty much the RAM equivalent of transfer rate, so just pick something old and slow, and your computer should be developing anterograde amnesia sooner than later. I just want to point out that while we are doing it intentionally, in today's postmodern world, we might not have any other choice. Moving on from that sad fact, let's talk about CPUs and GPUs. I'm gonna lump them together because I have the exact same thing to say about them. After all, a GPU is basically just a specialized version of a CPU. When people talk about speeds in relation to these two, they're usually referring to their clock speeds, measured in hertz. But like I said, it's actually not really that important. Sure, the clock speeds do indeed impact the performance of your computer, but it's probably not by as much as you think it does. What really matters is how many cores your processor has. Software nowadays really take advantage of the multi-core architecture. Ergo, the more cores you have, well, you can fill in the blanks. This is especially true for your GPU, as the whole reason it exists is to give your computer more cores to process graphics. Greatest thing about intentionally building a slow computer is that even if you use only new parts, it'll be dirt cheap, though it wouldn't be good value. In fact, it might be even worse of value than an overkill machine. Now, I didn't give you any specific parts, and truthfully didn't even provide... this video's a mess. But if you actually want somewhat of a guide, then Linus Tech Tips has a pretty good video. Though, they missed one little extra thing to really reduce the pace of your PC even more. The art of the gunk is truly something beautiful. It takes a skilled amateur to gunk up their computer. But not me. What is gunk? Well, I'm getting to it now. When your computer is idle, it will pick up gunk, which is essentially foreign matter that shouldn't be in your computer because it's interfering with the physical processes of your machine, usually mechanical, though sometimes electrical. This leads to components that run slower than they should, which is normally undesirable, but don't forget what video you're watching right now. This foreign matter can be a variety of things. At the lightest, it's dust. What is dust? Where does it come from? What is it made out of? Dead skin cells. While dust normally starts and ends as a minor annoyance, sometimes it can build up to cause some real trouble. But even at its worst, it's not as bad, nor as gross, as bugs. Yep, if you're not careful and you live in a disease-infested household worthy of low-cow status, then it's likely that small little, occasionally not little, insects will crawl into your PC. Now that's bad, but it's even worse when they perish cause when they're corpses, they're not gonna be leaving anytime soon. Now, those two are probably the most common types of gunk you're gonna encounter naturally. However, if we're talking about intentionally gunking up your computer, then why not throw some dirt, some feces? And you can't forget about the bugs. Look, sky's the limit when you do give a shit. Literally. Of course, don't throw too much in there, as you want a balance between enough gunk to slow down your computer, but not too much to the point where your components start not working at all. Yes, I know this section was short, a bit dumb, and gross, but look. It was either this or I talked about fucking time travel. Or I rehashed even more stuff. So, just be happy with what you got. But you know, speaking of happy, despite having given award-winning advice on how to make the slowest and also possibly the most disgusting computer, my life still doesn't feel fulfilled yet. It's like there's still a burning hole in my chest, yet to be filled. I originally started this whole thing off by offering genius advice on how to make your computer faster, but I was left with a feeling that maybe that was not right, and that I should do the opposite. But now that I have done the opposite, I still feel unsatisfied. Maybe adjusting the speed of your computer isn't the way to life. Maybe it's something different. Now that is really fucking stupid. This has been the Orange Guy. Have a nice day.
Chilling on the weekend like usual. Watching SpongeBob and Scooby-Dooby-Doo. She took the wires to my PlayStation. She doing too much. I didn't wipe my butt. I just pooped and got up.